Welcome, brave souls, to tonight's gathering around the campfire. I'm your host, Dr. Creepen, and I hope you brought your courage because we're diving into some of the spookiest stories that will send shivers down your spine. Well, the fire may keep the cold away, but not what lurks in the darkness. So grab a seat, get cozy, and let's explore the eerie, the unexplained, and the downright terrifying. Ready? Then let's begin. It's time to sit back and relax with your favorite drink. And listen. In our first story, we step into the eerie, dimly lit studio of Reaper FM, where DJ Thulu serves up hellish tunes and devilish commentary for the nocturnal freaks and geeks. But tonight, something different is in the air. What starts out as a routine show, sinister laughs, demonic jams, and cheeky banter, takes a turn when the phone rings. Devil's Pickins by Corpse Child. Hey there, freaks and geeks of all ages. Tune on in, we got a hell of a lineup tonight. And don't forget tonight's Devil's Pickins. That's right, tonight at around 3 a.m. we open the floor for suggestions for next picks for the next hour. I press the button to cue the demonic laugh. The same tired-out track that I'm surprised, out of all the calls we got, none of them were about getting a new one. But for now, lay back and relax in your infernal hot tubs, as our first hellish pick for tonight is... The phone started ringing. I tried ignoring it. Hades' Triumph by Severance, followed by... The phone continued to ring. It was to a point where it was drowning out the sound of my voice. I raised my eyebrow, looking at the time. It was only 11:30 p.m., not even time for the nightly Q&A segments, and our lucky devil giveaway was the night before. In short, there was no reason for some cocksucker to be calling right now. I waited about another half a minute for the damn thing to quit ringing, but it wouldn't. Finally, I rolled my eyes and picked up the phone. Hello, my fiendish little imp. We thank you for calling Reaper FM. Unfortunately, the floor is not open for... Sing me a lullaby. I paused. It sounded like a little girl on the phone. Well, hello there. Is your mother or father around? Sing me a lullaby. Well, I cleared my throat. Little lady, I appreciate you wanting to call me and all, but this isn't the right time to... I stopped and almost chucked the headphones out of the station window when I heard the shrill sound of wailing from the other end. Immediately, I smashed the end call button and began panting. I sat for almost a full minute, looking around the room before realizing the damn recording light was still on and picking up my headphones from up off the control panel. Hey, forgive me for that, boys and ghouls. Don't we all just hate wrong numbers? And I hit the terrified screaming track. Yeah, I bet that is pretty creepy, huh? All alone, dead at night, and suddenly the phone rings when you know it shouldn't from someone you don't know. But you know what's even creepier? Severance, with their hit song Hades' Triumph. Enjoy, you little devil. I hit play on the song list and sat back. What the fuck was that? I thought as the opening riff of the song kicked in. In seconds, the room was filled with overly aggressive guitar riffs and heart-stopping drum beats, followed swiftly by the lead singer's almost trademark opening howl of rage, marking the beginning of the song. With that, my anxiety almost immediately melted away. Howls from below, death in tow, and cries from the deep, rousing you from sleep. Before I knew it, I was headbanging the shit out of the music like I used to back in high school. When the wolves howl, the air so foul, and innocent wombs are plowed, you all know to Hades you maggots bow. I even mouthed along to the chorus, Hades' Triumph. I was roused from concentration, however, when I heard the phone start ringing again. This time it was somehow so loud that it actually not only stood out from the music, overpowering as it was, it even managed to drown out most of the music. Like the first time, trying to ignore it did me no good because it just kept ringing and ringing. Even when the song ended and the next one that was significantly louder and heavier by the way, came on, the phone was still ringing. Rolling my eyes, I answered. "Hello, my fiendish little imp. We thank you for calling Reaper FM." This time it was an older woman's voice, about mid-30s or so, softly saying, "Will you sing for me? You always used to sing for us, remember that?" I paused. "Ma'am, I'm not sure what you're..." The little girl's voice returned. "Sing for us. Sing us a lullaby." They both then started repeating the words. "Sing us a lullaby." I mashed the encore button again before returning to the soundboard to prep for the Q&A session. I closed my eyes and sighed. Just get through the next half hour, then it's music again. I looked at the clock. It was 12:45. Fucking wonderful, I thought. Only 5 more hours till the AM DJ comes, and I can go home and smoke myself stupid till 10. I eyed the mini fridge. No, better save the bangs for later. Well, folks, it's that time again. That's right, for the next half hour, DJ Thulu is taking any and all questions, requests, and possible deals. At the price of your soul, of course. I played the demonic laugh track and sat back. Now, typically, these go one of 2 ways. Either the phone immediately starts ringing off the hook, sometimes before I can even finish my opening speech for it, or I get no calls at all that night. Tonight was the first time, however, that neither was the case. Instead, it was almost 2 minutes, and therefore I wasn't expecting it, before the phone startled me by ringing out of seemingly nowhere. I quickly threw on my headphones and hit the answer button. "Welcome, caller, our first of the night. What can Reaper FM do for you tonight?" The sound from before, the sounds of wailing, blasted through my headphones, damn near giving me heart arrhythmia. "Why do you hate us?" the voices from before cried. My body still frozen, I heard the crying sounds build in tempo. Then I could hear the woman's voice shriek, followed by the little girl crying. "Ma'am, calm down. Are you..." I said, "Shut up, bitch," bellowed an almost inhumanly deep, growling voice that then began laughing. "Ma'am, hello, are you there? Is everything okay?" There was no reply. The wailing sounds also ceased abruptly. I was left all alone, quiet and dark in the studio room. My breathing was unsteady, caught between hyperventilation and heavy breathing. Prone, alert, waiting for the next surprise. Nothing happened. I looked at the time, 1:15 a.m. Only another 10 minutes before the music got to come back. At least then I'd have some kind of noise in the background. About 1:20 rolled around, and I was about to announce the Q&A was over and that The Siren's Cry by Taurus was up next, when the phone rang again. Now I almost didn't pick it up. Honestly, if I wasn't still trying to build up enough repertoire as a nighttime radio host for my portfolio, well, I aspired to be a voice actor, and therefore needed to keep this job at the station, I'd have been more than happy to let the bitch ring itself right on. Prank caller, distress, or legitimate caller be damned. But of course, aside from what I just mentioned, that damn phone was just too goddamn annoying to listen to. Picked up the phone, bracing for... well, can't really say what I was bracing for, but something. "Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?" The voice sounded panicked, like the other two, but it wasn't either the woman or the little girl's voice this time. This time it was a man's voice. "Hello, please someone, anyone, please help us. It hurts so." I began to hear a cloud of static devour his voice. "Sir, What's going on? Sir, are you okay? His voice struggled in and out of static, the way a drowning man fights for air. It hurts. He hates us. Please, help. I was about to try and call out to him again when that deep bellow from before came back as a low, rumbling sort of demonic laughter that grew slowly into a bestial roar. You get what you deserve. Now shut up and... I couldn't listen anymore because right at that moment, all at once, each and every one of the screams came back. The last thing I could hear, in a mix of both the demons and the little girl's voices, was, "Will you sing me a lullaby, please?" Sat there, staring bug-eyed and breathless at the discarded headphones. Shakingly reached out to pick them up again, when I noticed that they were glowing. I hesitated for a second before continuing to pick them up. They weren't hot at all, in fact, quite the opposite. They were so cold that my arm broke into goosebumps the instant I touched them. When I put them on again, the only thing I could hear was static, low and almost completely indistinct, sounding more like those rainfall ambiences you sometimes listen to fall asleep to. Well, that was until a couple of seconds later, I realized they were getting closer, growing in intensity and pitch. I realized it wasn't static at all, but the screaming again. I started turning a few of the knobs to try switching the stations. Funnily enough, those were red hot, blistering the shit out of my fingertips as soon as I touched them. Each and every frickin' one of them was like this too, leaving only the broadcast and playback buttons able to be touched. I pressed the broadcasting button and began asking if anyone was there, or if they were okay and could hear me. Obviously, I got no answer other than the ever-growing noise. I noticed, too, that the room started to get extremely hot, scorching, in fact, to a point where I started feeling dizzy. Not only that, but even the chair I was sitting in started getting toasty on the backside, so I stood up, only to find that my pants had already somehow fused to the cushion of the seat. I was stuck. There was nothing I could do to escape or make any of this stop. I looked over to the window, intent on shouting, praying to God that I'd get lucky enough to catch some street bum's attention to come and get me the hell out of there, when I realized I couldn't even see the frickin' street anymore. All that was there now was a blank void. What the hell? Where's the street? Where am I? How long has it been gone? How could it be gone? My head spun in literally every possible direction. I mashed the broadcast button again. Hello? Someone? Anyone? Can anybody hear me? Hello? Hello, Andrew. My eyes were 2 seconds from exploding in their sockets. I heard the deep, rumbling, roaring laughter blast me from both sides of my headphones, causing my heart to jump. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say hello, DJ Thulu. Is that better? Why, who are... Just your lucky caller for tonight. Oh, hell, I've been one of this station's biggest and oldest fans. Always love hearing your stuff, listening to the music and all. So do the filthy maggots and harlots here with me, as you've no doubt noticed. Dude, what the hell do you want from me? I heard the laugh again. Well, now, that's an excellent question. Though I thought I was supposed to ask you the questions here, as the fan and all. Oh, fuck it, I'll humor you. Well, the answer isn't about what I want from you, but instead what hell actually wants from you. I started throwing my head furiously around the room. I even peered out the window again. Everywhere I looked, no one was there. Where the hell even are you? Well, I'm everywhere. I'm inside each and every man, woman, and brat that has vomited up to this shithole Earth since its conception. Huh? Dude, that doesn't even make any sense. What the fuck are you? Whoa, slow down, Motormouth. As much as I love hearing your voice every night, I'm afraid you're starting to exhaust your good graces with me with all these interrogations of yours here. I mean, for fuck's sake. You haven't even given me a chance to answer your last question. You don't normally ask this many questions to people, do you? Oh, no, but then again, this shit usually doesn't happen either. The voice laughed again. Fair enough, I suppose. Though I think from here on, I'd like to do most of the talking if that's all right with you, Mr. Thulu, sir. Okay, whatever. Just tell me what you want here. That's better. Though again, it's not just about me tonight, but about what all of hell wants. Now, as I understand it, tonight is Devil's Pickins night, yes? Yeah, what about it? Well, as one of your longest fans, I think it's high time we cash in on that opportunity, yeah. But I can't do that yet. What do you mean you can't? I thought that's how this was supposed to work. We pick the songs and you play them. The room was unbearably hot now, sweltering. My breathing was heavy and my head felt light. The room began to spin and I thought I was going to collapse onto the panel in front of me. What's wrong, DJ Thulu? Cat got your tongue? The heat of the situation setting in, maybe? I mashed the button once again. What the fuck are you doing to me? So much for letting me do the talking, huh? Whatever. So here's the deal, pal. I heard the laugh again, this time smaller, more of a chuckle than a bellowing cackle. Myself and the others with me, I mentioned before, are gonna make a few song requests, and you're gonna play them, got it? You know, just like every other Devil's Pickins night. I started panting. My vision went cloudy. I could barely even distinguish the knobs from the panel in front of me. Fine, okay, you win. Will you let me go if I do? Well, I am known for my deals, and a deal ain't worth a maggot's rancid turd if I don't hold up my end of them. I'll let you go tonight if you play our lineup for tonight's pickings. Sounds fair? Yeah. Darkness was closing in. My body felt like it would have burst into flames at any second, just out of thin air. Suddenly, though, fresh air started to fill my flaccid lungs again. I coughed and sputtered. Now, you ready for the first pick? Yeah, sure, whatever. Good. Now for this one, I'm gonna let one of the underlings shoot their shots first. I heard the screams return, with the man's voice returning, sobbing. I want to hear you play. What? I can't hear you. I heard the man cry out in pain, with the deep voice roaring at him to speak up and quit crying like a little maggot. Play Hero by Skillet. I was confused for a second. I could hear the groans of agony also pick up in pitch. Then I heard an ear-splitting screech that was followed by a sickening squelching sound, then a gurgling death rattle. What the fuck was that? Look, disregard what he just said, you hear? That pious moron has always been a pain in my tail. Both of them. Man, you try and do something nice for people, eh? What? Huh? Anyway, so I think I'll let her go first then. Wait, who are you? The little girl came back. Will you sing us a lullaby now? What are you talking about? I could hear the demon voice laughing. Oh, she's just so precious, ain't she? Oh, you heard her. Play her a lullaby. But how? I mean, I don't have any. Didn't your mother ever sing to you when you were her age? Yeah, I guess so, but... Well, how fucking lucky for you. See, she never got to hear a lullaby. You want to know why? I was about to try and reply that I really didn't, Sadly, he wasn't actually asking. She never got to hear a lullaby because her mommy kept trying to kill her every night. Yeah, a real piece of work she was, huh? Oh, but don't worry, she's here too. The voice laughed, and the little girl returned. Please sing me a lullaby, Mr. DJ Thulu. I paused for a moment, unsure completely as to what the hell I was supposed to do. Don't know exactly how long I sat idle, but it was apparently too long for whoever it was on the phone, because the next thing I knew, the air in the room started getting thick and heavy again. This time I could even see my skin turning a bright pinkish sort of red, like a sunburn. Getting hot in there, ain't it? The voice laughed again. The little girl I heard started to break into tears. Why won't you sing me a lullaby? My throat felt tight, slowly choking me out. I reached out to push the answer button, which in itself felt like more of a struggle than it ever should have. Why do you hate me? Screams all returned. My skin was about to start blistering and my vision was darkening again. Finally, I managed to hit the button and start, sort of, singing. Rock-a-bye baby in the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. And down comes baby, cradle and all. The air pressure returned to normal. I could breathe again. For a moment after, nothing happened. The other side was dead silent. Is that it? Are they finally gone? Well, ain't that just awful touching? All right, look, I sang your damn lullaby. Just pick the next song already. The voice let out a roaring laugh. Jeez, kid, I'm just trying to have a bit of fun here. Not like there's anyone else on the line waiting, you know. The woman's voice came next. Play The Worlds Fall Apart by Devious Jackers. Okay. I started flipping through my records and CDs in the filing cabinet next to the panel. I don't have it. Check your playlist again. What? My playlist? On your phone. Go on, check it. I did. Opening up my playlist, right at the top was the song. My eyes widened. Wait, what the hell? I didn't buy that. Never mind that now. Just play it. And don't worry, it won't rack up any suspicious charges on your bank account. Just play it, and it'll be gone by sunrise. Sunrise, I thought. I looked at the time. It was now 4 o'clock. Only another hour and a half till the sun started coming up. Of course, I wasn't exactly sure how it all worked here, but my belief was that who or whatever these jack-offs were, they'd be gone by sunrise and this would all be over. Just another hour. I pressed the button to play the song. The song itself was almost 10 minutes long, with strung-out guitar solos and long periods of time where the vocalist just howled gutturally into the microphone. Usually, I'm all into that shit, but this time, couldn't tell why. But I was actually unsettled. The tune itself, like it was traveling inside of my body, battering all of my organs around, and then forcefully pulling out my spirit, or something like that. I don't know. I'm not religious. Finally, the song ended. Bravo, DJ Thulu. You really are the best host here, aren't you? Whatever. Look, just hurry up and pick the next song. Really ought to learn to relax, but as you wish. Now I think I'm feeling generous enough to let this fucker have another turn. What do you say? Ready to choose a song again? The man's voice returned once more, though this time it was mutilated, sounding like a mix of his original voice and that of the demons. Yes, master. I want to hear From Below by Leviathan. Like last time, I started flipping through the CDs as well as checking my playlist on my phone. Right as I was about to tell him I didn't have it, though. There it was, appearing spontaneously at the top above Worlds Fall Apart. Sighing, I hit play. The song was even more rending than the last. This song not only carried on for 3 times as long, but also didn't feel like even a song, but rather a weird-ass sort of ambience. Imagine these ambiences you'd hear of like an underwater setting or something, instead of sounding like an aquarium or anything like that. All you hear is some gigantic thing growling like it's trying to say something. Don't even bother asking me what. For 30 minutes straight. It's exactly how long this song was. Weirder still, this one actually started having me seeing things. I imagined the world drowned in a red river, blood I assumed, with everyone in it crying out for mercy like the voices on the other end of the radio earlier. Then, from the river, I watched this tyrannical creature with 4 stupidly muscular arms, jagged, almost metallic-looking teeth, marbled, pitch-black eyes, and a giant maw that looked like it would swallow the planet whole. I had no idea what it was trying to say, but I could see its mouth move in sync with the garbled lyrics from the music. Not only that, but the monster seemed to be looking straight at me as it spoke. The screams then started to emit from the body of the beast, with the people having actually fused with the damn thing to form this chimerical abomination straight out of a goddamn horror movie. That was when they all screamed out at me. "We are, all of us, together." The monster's body began to change, its slippery, scaly flesh dissolving away into that of a giant shadow that loomed over the world. The end. I remember screaming at this. Funny thing was, I wasn't even trying to scream. Yeah, I was scared and my mind was beyond fucked to the point of no real return, but despite this, I wasn't making a conscious effort to scream, even if just out of a reflex, you know. I guess I should say that I was somehow actually forced to scream. In any case, though, I came out of it sometime later and found that the song was over. I looked at the time. 4:45 a.m. Only another 15 minutes. I honestly wondered if I'd even last that long. Well, certainly a banger that one was, huh? I didn't respond for a good 2 to 3 minutes. Still not convinced everything was back to normal again. Well, at least in the semi-general sense. Hello? You still with us here, DJ Thulu? I hit the button. Yeah, I'm here. Look, Devil's Pickins almost over, okay? If you've got any more tracks to play, then let's get them over with. Oh, Christ on a stick. You ain't kidding. It really is almost up, ain't it? Well then, it's a good thing I saved the best for last. The screams, the roaring laughter, and the sounds from the last track all combined into one as I heard the voice say for me to play something called The Deal by The Fallen. My heart froze for a second as I shakily opened the playlist to find, like the other two, that it too poofed its way to the top of the list. Fearing a lot more about what would happen if I hesitated, I panic-mashed the play button. Immediately the speakers emitted the absolute single most high-pitched screech that was even earthly possible. It even caused sparks to fly from both the speakers and the panel. In seconds, the studio was filled with sparks flying like fireworks. I reached to hit the stop button when the phone itself exploded into flames. From there, the room caught flame, engulfing the entire room in only a minute. I frantically jumped up from my seat, now free to move again, tried jerking the door open. It was stuck. So then I tried breaking the window. Somehow, though, even hurling the chair at it with all my strength was absolutely worthless. Over the chaos, through the headphones, I could hear the abominable voice laughing. How's this for a hot single, huh? What are you doing? Let me out. The voice laughed again. Well now, the song ain't over yet now, is it? You can't do this. You have to let me go. Not till the song's over. How's our deal, remember? You play my little selection and I'll let you go. Don't worry, this is the last one, I promise. Now I'm going to enjoy the rest of this song and you, well, you can go back to trying to beat the heat. I heard the laughing one last time before I heard the line on their end disconnect. Looked around the room. Everywhere, everything was swallowed in flames. I was trapped. There was nowhere I could go and nothing I could do. The flames crept teasingly, slowly coming toward me. Smoke now infested the air, suffocating me further. In seconds, I was gagging and wheezing. My vision clouded over, my arms and legs lost strength, and darkness spread across the room, and then, nothing. Couldn't see, feel, smell, or hear anything. It stayed like this for God only knew how long, and I'd have thought for sure that I was dead if it weren't for the fact that I was shaken awake by a firefighter. My vision was blurry, and my head felt like a sack of bricks had been taken upside it at full force. Well, where? Easy there, son, said the fireman. Just breathe. I tried to, and it resulted in a whooping cough. He then gently fitted an oxygen mask to my face. Here, now try. It was still a bit before I was able to, but I was able to start eventually breathing properly again. When the police arrived, along with my boss, the producer of the station, I was almost instantly barraged with questions along the lines of, what in the unholy hell happened in the studio? I'd have laughed at that, if only out of sheer morbid irony, but, of course, the condition of my lungs wouldn't have allowed that. Obviously, no, I didn't try explaining what any of that was that happened. Instead, I just told them that the equipment caught fire, and the door and windows somehow got stuck. To be honest, if it weren't for the email I got just a few hours later when I got home, I'd have probably believed that. As it was, I found out that I owe my survival to a random tip from a deep-voiced fellow, as one cheeky nurse called it, that they'd seen the studio building on fire. I was rushed then to the hospital, where it was found, albeit rather quickly, that I was relatively unharmed outside of a bit of smoke inhalation. I was then sent home. It was there, though, that I got an email on my computer from an email that, as far as I was aware, couldn't be real. It read as follows. Glad to know you got out of there, DJ Thulu. Can't have my favorite host getting all crispy on me just yet. After all, next Devil's Pickins night is next Friday, right? Well, gotta keep the maggots entertained till then. See you soon, Andy. Sincerely, your lucky devil. P.S. Don't worry about the studio. I'll personally see to it that it's up and running again. How are you all doing, my friends? Keeping warm? There's plenty of hot cocoa for those who want it, and a few things a little stronger for those who wish to indulge. Now, in our next story, we look at a dream house, or is it nightmare fuel? Looking for your dream home? And picture this. A mountain paradise called Grenview Pines, where the air is crisp, the scenery looks stolen from a fairy tale, the houses are almost too affordable. Seems perfect until it isn't. Now, for a broke 25-year-old desperate to escape a crumbling apartment and a flaky ex-roommate, it feels like salvation. A quiet, picturesque neighborhood nestled in the woods, with deals too good to pass up. But here's the kicker. No one tells you about the local. Tasting Forbidden Fruit by Corpse Child. When you look for a place to live, you take a few things into consideration. Cost of living, mortgage costs, price of utilities, all that jazz, right? Most of the time, you might not exactly take too much in mind when it comes to shit like the people or folklore in the neighborhood, would you? At least, not when you're me, 25-year-old scrub who's just looking for a way out of his first apartment that won't force him to smash his piggy bank, right? So yeah, okay. I've been on a search for places to move into for at least the better part of 2 or 3 weeks. So far, thanks to today's economy tap dancing around its grave along with the rest of society, I guess it's no real surprise that every house there looked like the realtor must have had a stroke right after he hit the finger on his zero key. That's when it came to places here in town. Eventually I had the bright idea to look outside my town, specifically in an area in the mountains in Terrace County called Grenview Pines. Now, let me tell you that when I first saw the place, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, when you think of dream vacations, you think of scenic areas that look like you'd be able to just ride along through and feel as though you were actually there just from looking at it for too long. You know? Somewhere where you wouldn't want to leave, right? Well, my friend, in that regard, look no further than Grenview Pines. I swear I actually had to take a moment to make sure the pictures I was seeing of the place weren't just a bunch of stock images ripped from some jackass's background wallpaper. Now, obviously my first reaction was, yeah, sure, it's pretty and all. What are the prices going to be like? Can't be affordable, can it? Well, my friend, in that regard, let me once more say, look no further than Grenview Pines. The first house I saw in the market was $3,600 with only a $750 down payment. I couldn't believe my eyes, seriously. And this is what you'd call a dream house. Going back briefly to what I was saying earlier about trying to get the hell out of my cramped-ass apartment as quickly as I could, understand that I really was desperate to get out, given that rent was coming due and my shit-heel ex-roommate decided to flake on me to move back in with his parents without having the common courtesy to at least leave me his half of the rent for the coming month. While I wasn't broke yet, I wouldn't have had the money to pay it up on time, and I sure as hell wasn't about to incur a late fee. Oh, you have no idea how much extra is added onto the already blown out of the ass price. So, you see now why I might have been a little more eager than perhaps I should have been to immediately dive into this head first, no questions asked. So I called the number for the realtor's office. 2 days later, I was on my way up into the mountains. I can't express enough just how amazing Grenview Pines looked driving up the mountain range. The pictures were accurate, sure enough, yet at the same time were nowhere near able to show off the beauty of the place. Think of every picture you've seen where your friends are chilling up in the mountains, and you see them commenting about how beautiful the scenery is. Now I want you to imagine yourself in a place that will put those pictures to shame. That was Grenview. The colours were bright, alive, and all around welcoming. The sun shone over the peak of the mountain range with a smile on its face that may well have said, "Welcome to Grenview Pines," cheesy as that sounds. It was true, though. I was driving through a dream spot, and I was going to be able to call it home. I ended up actually arriving at the spot of the new neighbourhood 10 minutes later than I was supposed to, simply because I couldn't help but go and slowly drive through a few of the different trails. When I arrived in the neighbourhood, I found that it was a slightly more secluded one, choked off all around by the trees, with only about 2 or 3 houses on either side of the road. A quiet neighbourhood, I figured. Perfect. No loud-ass roommates or next-door neighbours keeping me up at 2 and 3 in the morning. Well, I'll say right now, that was a damn lie. Anyway, I pulled up to the house I was moving into, and again, for the criminally low price I was supposed to pay for it, I was pleasantly surprised at the small yet welcome-looking house I was set to move into. The realtor was standing there on the porch waiting for me. The 2 of us got to take a tour of the house, where I was shown and told all of where the appliances and circuit breakers were, as well as where the cellar was. Admittedly, the place needed a bit of work on the inside compared to the outside, and that was more than fine with me. The conversation between myself and the realtor was unremarkable, though at one point I'd asked if the neighbourhood had any sort of reputation or if the residents were fans of new arrivals. I was told that, for the most part, the people in the area had always been rather friendly and welcoming to new arrivals. Afterwards, the 2 of us left and scheduled a second meet-up to finalise the purchase of the house for the next week. That week came and went, spent mostly with me packing up everything I could take with me and selling what I wasn't going to be able to. I was soon the proud owner of 1568 Clearwater Drive, Grenview Pines. That first night I spent in the new house, I remember I didn't even bother much with any shit like unpacking boxes, save for a few things and the stuff I'd picked up from the grocery store on the way. No, that night was spent just out on the road, enjoying the scenery some more. I really just couldn't get enough. I actually stayed out until it got dark, so much so that even the high beams of my SUV barely lit up the path in front of me. I couldn't have imagined trying to walk through this place at night. I slowly returned to the house, where I scoffed down a quick hungry man steak and mashed potatoes dinner before crashing for the night. When I woke up the next morning, I was getting up for the bathroom when I heard a knock on my door. A bit confused, only ever having been used to invited visits back at the apartment, I went and looked through the peephole to see a middle-aged couple standing at the door with a fruit basket. Weird. Hello? I greeted, opening the door. Well, hey there, newbie, the man exclaimed with a sort of Midwestern accent. His wife, also Midwestern and hyper-enthusiastic, chimed in. We just wanted to come by and say congratulations on the move-in. Well, you're going to love it here. Such a beaut, Grenview Pines, ain't it? Sure, I replied awkwardly. Well, we just wanted to drop by and give you a warm welcome, neighbor. She held up the fruit basket. Oh, and you don't want to forget this. I smiled and chuckled. Oh, thank you. I guess I should have something on my stomach before I stopped, seeing the worried looks growing rapidly on their faces. What? Oh, you don't eat those there, pal, said the man. Okay, then what do you do with them? Well, you leave them out on your front porch. Here, see. The wife pointed to the small side table on my porch. Oh, so they're, decorative, I asked, still confused as to why the hell they were so worked up over that. Well, sort of like that, yeah, the man said, chuckling nervously. I chuckled just as nervously while setting the basket down on the table. We exchanged brief goodbyes after that, and I went back inside to cook a proper breakfast, sort of. Bacon and pancakes that had been drowned in whipped cream and chocolate syrup. Yeah, so much for eating healthy. And after breakfast, I decided to go a little further into Terrace County, both to get to know and feel the area a bit more, and as an excuse to get myself lost in the scenery again. I spent most of the afternoon on this. Terrace County itself is a pretty small area, so it didn't take long, maybe 2.5 hours tops, before I'd seen everything in the town. Now, Grenview Pines, on the other hand, that was where the majority of the time was spent after I'd grabbed lunch at one of the diners. Oddly, as beautiful as the mountain and its trails are, I was surprised when I noted the distinct lack of other patrons walking the trail. I mean, small town, sure, but still, I would have thought there'd be more people, at least tourist-wise, you know. Well, anyway, 4:30, 5, I headed back home where the fruit basket was still sitting on the side table on the porch. I wonder. I took one of the grape stalks that stuck out from the right side of the basket. They looked, felt, and smelled real. The next thing was to try crushing one of them, which I did, and sure enough, it was a real grape all right. So, okay, then why in the hell were those two yahoos so skittish? Getting kind of hungry, I decided to help myself to the rest of the grapes on that vine, and an apple, while I went inside to start making actual supper. I just put my tater tot casserole into the oven when I started hearing something pounding outside. It was light, faint, and I almost didn't even notice it at all. When I started listening further, however, I noticed that there were not only sounds of thumping like hooves, but there was more than one of them. About 10 or more by the sound of it, in fact. I ignored it at first, and more came in quick succession. I went to the window then to see what was making the noise, and instantly had to shield my eyes. All I could catch in the split second my eyes were open was a bright wall of ivory light that I swear was 2 seconds from turning my eyeballs into molten slag right in the sockets. The hoofbeats were deafening too. My heart actually skipped 2 or 3 beats, and my ears rang like crazy for hours following. This is where things started to get a little weird because, while I was pretty sure it only lasted about half a minute to a minute and a half tops, I came out of my little hysteria to find that almost 20 minutes had passed and the kitchen was full of smoke, with the smoke detector screaming bloody murder in my ears. I got up and went back to the window to open it, while also turning on all the fans. When I opened the windows, everything outside was as quiet and calm as it could be. If I wasn't busy hacking up my lungs and frustratingly throwing the charred carcass of my casserole out the frickin' window, I'd have probably spent the next few hours wondering just what the hell that was, and how the hell 20 minutes just skipped like that. As it was, I ended up just throwing a sandwich together and calling it quits there. Stranger still was the fact that, despite being perfectly wide awake earlier and making just a regular sandwich, I ended up feeling extremely drowsy right after the 5th bite of my food. It's like each bite put me further and further to sleep. Finally, I did pass out on my couch, and I was out colder than if I'd been hit over the head with a baseball bat. Not only that, but I seemed to be almost lucidly dreaming, if that makes any sense at all. Now, to explain, you know how sometimes when you're asleep and you may not realize you're asleep, you'll be in a dream so vivid that, no matter how bizarre it appears, you'd swear it was real. A sort of dream where you can actually feel, hear, and maybe even smell everything around you, and or anything that happens to you. If you've ever had something like that happen, you'll know what I'm talking about here. In my case, I was in a dream where I was surrounded all around by walls of white. No landforms, no land to speak of, actually no windows or anything. Just an empty white space that looked to stretch until the end of time. I remember feeling absolutely numb when I was like this as well, having lost all senses of touch, or at least to anything I tried touching. That is to say, nothing at all. I had that weird sort of tingly feeling you get when your hand or foot falls asleep all throughout your body. All around me the walls glimmered with this radiant sort of tinkling. Imagine the Ivory City from the Never-Ending Story 2, but without any of the actual city, just the glimmering walls from the structures. That's the best sort of comparison I've got for it. It was when I started hearing the hoofbeats again that my heart pounded furiously. They echoed from all around me. I saw my head in every direction, but I couldn't see a damn thing. I heard what sounded like a combination of wolves howling and horses whinnying, joining this, well, closer. 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 Growls and whines from horses and wolves came right on top of me. The glimmering light got brighter and brighter. I was forced to shield my eyes like I did back in the kitchen. But somehow the sounds kept coming even closer still. I heard one last chorus of the horse-wolf hybrid noises before a deep but soft and gentle voice told me, "Don't open your eyes, or you'll never see again." When he spoke, I noticed that the sounds had stopped again. Before I could even get the breath to begin asking who the hell was talking, I heard what sounded like a knife being pulled from a slot on the chopping block. My body seized up hearing this. "Now this'll be painful," he said in a voice as gentle as a yogi. "Do not open your eyes. Endure, and you'll wake up just fine." My mouth must have been hanging open in place of my eyes, because the next thing I knew, I heard him tell me, "Do not speak, else we may remove your tongue as well. Endure, and you'll wake up just fine, child." And for the record, had he not told me that, I wouldn't have spoken, per se. Probably just would have screamed. Regardless, preferring to keep both my tongue and my eyes right where they were, I did exactly as I was told. And lastly, child, do not move, no matter how much you feel so inclined, else your limbs will be stripped from you. That forced my body to seize up even harder, almost locking up entirely. "Are you ready to receive penance?" Penance? In another instant, a cold swipe from something thin and sharp was swept across my chest. It was quick, but like how you may not notice at first when you cut your hand on something, usually out of adrenaline, like it was with me, or because you just weren't paying attention. It wasn't until a few seconds later that the searing pain started kicking in. Then another swipe came across my right cheek, this one immediately triggering the pain. Then another, and another. One right after the other, from my chest to my arms and legs, all across my face and eventually to my groin. Obviously, that was when I couldn't take it anymore and I had to scream. For an instant after doing so, everything went completely still, with an icy chill hitting my face. Suddenly something started burning at the root of my tongue. It was slow, too, intimate and searing. Imagine having a tooth pulled out without anesthetics, and now imagine that it's not a tooth, but your whole frickin' tongue. Imagine that whoever's doing it is in no real hurry to pull it out, instead taking their time so you feel every second of the misery. I can't say exactly how long this was going on for. Trust me, when you're in that much pain, you tend to lose track of shit like time. Finally, though, I did feel something of a pop and a flood of blood filling my mouth. Before I could react in any manner, the voice spoke again. You had not heeded our warning. You may now not speak again. Yet you may now as well never again taste forbidden fruit. You may now go and speak no more, child. May this be a lesson to you. And then everything went black. When everything came back, I sat up and found myself in my kitchen again. The sun was shining through the window. I swung my head in every direction, feeling everything in sight just so I could make sure I wasn't still asleep. Getting back to my feet, I looked at my phone, which I'd left on the counter when I was making supper, to find that it was 3 in the afternoon. 3 days later. I was about to shout, "What the fuck?" when I got hit with another nasty surprise. My mouth felt empty. A hollow hole. I tried to make pronounced sounds and realized that my fucking tongue was gone. Panic rolled right through me like a 150-mile-an-hour express train. I spent the next minute and a half clawing like a lunatic at the inside of my mouth, only to realize that it was worthless. It was gone. I couldn't talk, taste, or anything. God, what the fuck happened? Why is my tongue missing? I looked out the window to see the fruit basket gone. What the... Where did the fruit basket go? It hit me then. You had not heeded our warning. Now you may not speak again. Yet you may now as well never again taste forbidden fruit. That made me immediately think back to meeting with the neighbors that morning. They told me that the fruit wasn't for me to eat. They said it was decorative, so to speak. Naturally, I wanted to ask them what the hell that was, who the voice was, and just what the fruit really was to them. Unfortunately, without my tongue, I couldn't easily do that. Not directly, anyway. It wasn't until the end of that next day that they actually visited my house again, bringing yet another fruit basket. I remember opening the door, my face probably looking like I'd seen a ghost. Well, more like seen and felt. "Well, good morning, neighbor," the man cheered, just like he did last time. "We saw that you hadn't put out your offering basket for tonight, so we wanted to drop by and make sure you were set." I looked down at the basket. Oh yeah. I attempted, sounding every bit the dummy I was now. They cocked their eyebrows at me. I opened my mouth to try and cry out, plead, something, but all I could manage was a pathetic moaning sort of sound. "You okay there, darling?" asked the wife. I continued feebly, trying to talk. Finally, I opened my mouth and gestured for them to look inside, wherein their eyes bugged in absolute horror. "Oh my God, what happened?" "You had your offering basket out last night, right?" I nodded. "You don't think an animal might have gotten to it, do you?" I shook my head and picked up one of the fruits from the new basket and pretended to eat it. Both of them grimaced before the man exclaimed, "Damn it all. We told you those weren't for eating. Oh, Lord, son." I pleaded incoherently. Fortunately enough, probably this not being their first rodeo, as evidenced by the fact they immediately knew it had something to do with the damn fruit basket, they were able to understand me enough when I tried speaking from that point on. That said, from what they told me, there was no way to actually reverse what had been done to me. When I asked them the best I could about what the hell it was that took my tongue and the fruit basket in the first place, the man said, "Grenview Pines is a beautiful place, no doubts about that, but an old and mysterious place with old and mysterious things that have walked this mountain for thousands of years or more. Of these is one we like to call the Passing Hunter." He went on to explain to me that the Passing Hunter was an old sort of Celtic-based entity that was once known for butchering anyone that would be stupid enough to dare cross any of the trails here on the mountain. That was until one day, one bold SOB managed to actually strike a deal with the guy in exchange for freedom of safe travel and lodging on the mountain. But every night, each resident, at least of his neighborhood, why this in particular I couldn't tell you, would provide a fruit basket for him, as apparently he was fond of fresh fruit but couldn't pick it his damn self. The couple left after that, as it was getting dark again. That was just a week ago. Since then, I haven't missed a single night of setting a fruit basket out. God knows I never will again after that night. Whether I manage to stay here or find another place to stay, not that it really makes much difference anymore. In that time, I've been trying everything I can to search for information online I can find about the Passing Hunter. Just as my luck would have it, there's absolutely freaking nothing. Obviously, this is part of why I'm writing this here. This and the fact that I literally can't tell anyone in person. I need help. I need answers. Other than a mysterious god or whatever that stalks this neighborhood in Grenview Pines. Who or what the hell is the Passing Hunter? Whoever he is, one thing I know is for certain. Never ever go one night without leaving a full, untouched fruit basket out for him if you live in Grenview Pines. If you do, I don't even think God himself could actually help you. Well, it's nice to see the campfire is still going strong and so many of you are enjoying the delicious warmth. Everybody good? Need a drink? There's plenty still to go around. Now, we think about what happens when boredom meets bad decisions. 2 co-workers, 1 boring shift, and a really bad idea. Stay overnight in the store, they said. It'll be fun, they said. What starts as a simple dare to camp out turns into a spine-chilling nightmare when the duo discovers their workplace hides far more than empty aisles and expired snacks. And by the time the clock strikes midnight, they'll wish they'd clocked out and run. After Hours by Corpse Child. God, why am I such an idiot? Why did I think going through with any of this would be a good idea? I mean, come on. Hey man, I have an idea. How about we camp out at work overnight? Sounds fun, right? Fuck me, man. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is that my coworker and I got bored, so we decided to try and play a game. We decided to lock ourselves in the store after we closed for the night and spend the night there. Please don't ask me why I thought this idea was a good one. For one thing, it wasn't my idea. And second, well, like I said, we were bored. And evidently, good judgment isn't something we have much of. And before you want to kick me while I'm down by coming at me for doing something stupid like this out of sheer boredom, let me give you a little rundown of a typical day at Vickers Super Smart Supermarket. One of those big box stores that's not quite as big as a Publix or Walmart, but still bigger than, say, Dollar Tree or Family Dollar, even if those places end up getting talked about more often. Operating hours were 7 days a week, 7 a.m. sharp to 10 p.m. sharp. I mean sharp. It'll help you if you were late by 5 minutes. During set hours, here's what would happen. Absolutely fucking nothing. See, by the time the second shift rolls around, most people apparently decide they'd rather just be at home after getting off work. You know, like a normal person. But not us. Nope. We have to make sure our doors are open to welcome any of our loyal, super smart shoppers with open arms and a smile, of which there are usually only about a dozen that I can remember in almost 2 years I've sunk into this place. Honestly, I don't know why they need us to stay open so damn late all the time. It's literally the same damn people every day. Or maybe with the occasional out-of-towner. Now, add all of this up with the fact that our radio doesn't even play any good stations. Well, at least nothing I can stand listening to. And yep, now you can maybe get an understanding as to why I and the others might pull a stunt and end up in some shit like this. Anyways, so it was last night. Around maybe 7 or 8. And everything was dead quiet in the place, as usual. By this time, I usually go ahead and start sweeping, mopping, and emptying the trash cans at the front and register areas, while the manager on duty, usually Zane, the only MOD they can get to work night shifts, would start tidying up the back of the store. I was running the trash to the back when Zane came up to me. "Check this out. I just had an idea," he exclaimed, sounding like he was about to tell me he'd found the cure to cancer or something. The look on his face was kind of a tip-off that whatever he was about to say was likely going to be something balls-to-the-wall wacky, something he was kind of known for doing from time to time around the place. If he wasn't talking about his latest fan theories about his favorite TV series, he was usually pitching ideas for how to make weird shit for when you get stoned. Like the time he hollowed out a hot pocket and stuffed it with marshmallow cream, calling it his homemade Twinkie recipe. "Oh yeah? What's that?" I asked, grinning dryly. It was amusing wondering what insanity would come out of his mouth next. He held up his phone. "Dude, check it. You know how this place was built in an old Cherokee burial ground?" I raised my eyebrow at him and shook my head. It was honestly the first time I'd ever heard of it. He pointed to his phone. "Yeah, see, look, this place was built on the same place where a bunch of them dropped dead back during the Trail of Tears." I looked closer at the phone. It's a post on an unlisted forum. You know, one of those "we show you what the man doesn't want you seeing" types. The title of it was "Blood Profiteering, Supermarket Built on Blood-Stained Soil." I briefly skimmed the post before looking back up at him, raising my eyebrow. "Okay, so?" I asked. "So what if there's ghosts here? Wouldn't that be awesome?" I stared blankly at him. I'll say it right now, I was 2 seconds from pissing myself laughing. He was fucking serious right now. From the look on his face, the trademark, "I swear to God, dude," look he had when he said this told me he wasn't. "Yeah, okay," I scoffed, turning back and heading to the dumpster area. He followed behind me. "Bro, I'm serious, there could be ghosts here." I heaved the trash into the dumpster. "Yeah, and? What are we supposed to do? Call the Ghostbusters?" "What if we could meet him?" I snapped my head to look at him. First, I actually thought I'd misheard him. I caught my eyebrow. "Come again?" "What if we met the spirits of the dead? What do you think they'd say? What do you think they'd do?" Now I was laughing. "What's funny? I'm being serious." "Do you freaking hear yourself right now?" I asked, still hilariously baffled. "How much dope did you smoke before coming in today, man?" He furrowed his eyebrow for a second before saying, "Oh, only 2, but that's not the point." Barked out another laugh in disbelief. "Come on," he insisted. "You're telling me that despite all those episodes of X-Files you've been binging on during your lunch breaks, you wouldn't want to have an actual paranormal encounter of your own?" I sighed now, annoyed. He just had to bring up my obsession with X-Files, didn't he? Look, yeah, I like spooky shit, okay? Horror movies, ghost stories, paranormal documentaries or podcasts, all that stuff, yeah. I'm all for it. That didn't mean I wanted to try and do some shit like seances or summoning spirits or whatever. Look, dude, I just like hearing about weird stuff, not actually trying it. His face remained pleading. No, how would we even pull it off? Pull some black magic or something? I don't even believe in that shit. See, that's just it. We don't have to do anything. You don't have to believe in anything either. I mean, hell. He held his hand up. Atheist here. I don't believe in God or angels either. Wait, I interrupted. You don't believe in God or anything? He shook his head. You want to try and see ghosts? stared dumbfounded at him again. "Why not?" he said with a surprisingly genuine enthusiasm. Well, maybe not that surprising. Again, kind of an oddball, this one. I pinched the bridge of my nose. "All we have to do," he continued, "is stay inside the store till at least midnight, and they'll show up. We'll get to see actual ghosts." My eyes almost shot right from my head at him. "Yeah, or we'll just look like two idiots standing in an empty store after hours. Bro, are you sure whatever you were smoking wasn't laced with something? I mean, aside from the fact that I'd like to go home tonight, you do know that's considered trespassing, right? I ain't trying to have the law on my back. Especially not for something stupid like this." "Dude, relax. It's not like anybody's here anyway. Look around." He waved his hand around. Well, he was right, nobody was there. Who's gonna notice? I sighed. "Look, man," he said, aggravated. "I just want to go home tonight, okay?" He rolled his eyes. "Well, here's the thing. Whether you're in or not, I'm not leaving till I try this. You want to go home to your lonely apartment? Be my guest, but I'm staying." I looked at him like, "Really, man?" Aside from annoyingly taking jabs at me once again about my personal life, shit that wasn't his business that I thought could be trusted to remain in confidence, I knew that he was trying to entrap me. He knew that if I left him alone in the store after closing, the general manager would have my ass in a sling. Pinched the bridge of my nose and sighed again. "Fine, I'll do it." He immediately brightened right back up and let out a loud woo-hoo that resonated throughout the entire store. I just shook my head. What am I doing with my life? So yeah, that's how I got into this mess. My goofball MOD sucker punched me into pulling some ghost hunting scheme. Of course, I figured everything would be dead, figuratively at least. Nothing had happened. We go home. Or I'd maybe take a few hits from my bowl before passing out on the couch like usual. One way or another, also I'd find some way to get back at him for forcing me to go through with this. Anyway, 9:30 soon rolled round, with the only business we got being Mrs. Delaney, who was buying her customary 2 boxes of whole wheat crackers, a tub of Land O'Lakes, and 2 blocks of cheddar cheese, along with a bag of cat food. And Gary, who only ever came in either to annoy me by asking me to set him up with some girl we went to school together with, or to buy a pack of Marlboro Reds. I just finished sweeping the front of the store when I looked up to see that Zane wasn't up front taking down his register like usual. I frowned. Where is he? I looked around. Couldn't see him anywhere. "Zane," I called out. "Zane, where are you?" I stopped when I saw him coming out of the seasonal aisle with sleeping bags and pillows. I looked at him confused. "Dude, what the hell are you doing with those?" "Well, I mean, if you want to sleep on the floor," he replied, snickering. "What do you mean? I thought you said we only had to stay till midnight." "No, that's when I said it's going to start," he said. I groaned. He tossed one of the sleeping bags to me before heading to the front to take his register down for the night. Sulking, I laid out my sleeping bag in the middle of the chip aisle. At least I'll have snacks, I thought. After that, I locked the doors for the night while Zane was finishing closing out the system. Finally, the store was closed. Okay, what do we do for the next 2 hours? I asked Zane. He shrugged. Dunno. Host didn't specify. Just said that the spirits of the dead Indians might come at around midnight. Did it say anything specific about them? Whether or not they're normal and friendly, or if they're the pissed off, kill all white men on sight types? He paused for a moment before chuckling and saying, "No, I don't think it did." I dropped my face into my hands. Great, so we're locked in an empty store with nothing to do, trying to catch the ghosts of dead people who were forced from their homes to die here. We don't know whether or not they're friendly. Is that what you're saying? He scoffed. He shrugged with a carefree smirk. Fucking wonderful. What? You scared? He followed this by flapping his arms and making chicken noises. Whatever, man, I said, rolling my eyes while flipping him off. I walked off back to the chip pile. I decided to try passing the time by screwing around on my phone for a while, scrolling through Facebook and then YouTube. Figuring since we weren't entirely sure what kind of spirits we might or might not end up dealing with, I decided to spend some time watching videos on the different spirits of Native American folklore. For the most part, aside of course from the Wendigo, I didn't see anything about specific spirits that were necessarily known for being evil or anything. At least I don't have too much to worry about. My thoughts were derailed when I saw the lights start flickering. "Zane?" I called out. No answer. The lights continued flickering. I got up and went to look for Zane then. I started around the front where I was, the food aisles. When I didn't see him anywhere there, I headed towards the home decor section and started making my way from there to the pet aisle. "Zane? Zane, where are you?" The flickering got more sporadic. Around the time I made it to the cleaning aisle, I started to hear the sounds of some sort of chanting coming from seemingly all around me. This was joined with the distant beats of some drums. It reminded me of the scenes in movies of tribal ceremonies, usually for sacrifices or something, you know? "Zane," I called out again. Still no answer. Admittedly, this started making me anxious. Maybe it was the fact that it was late at night and I was locked in an empty store, not even able to find the only other person that I knew should have been there. But I felt small chills stab down my back the further down I went. The sounds got louder, going past the cleaning and past the furniture aisle. Slowly shambling from down there and past the medicine aisle, I heard Zane's voice letting out a shrill scream, like he'd just been stabbed. Instantly, I kicked into overdrive and started bolting the rest of the way down to the clearance aisle at the back of the store. The lights were flickering so bad the closer I got that I was almost surprised I didn't drop dead from an epileptic seizure. "Zane," I shouted, "I'm coming." The chanting got louder. The drums beat harder. I started throwing my head in every possible direction, looking for either Zane or who or whatever the hell was making that noise. I couldn't see anything. "Zane!" And the lights went out, with me just about to enter the electronics aisle, with the clearance aisle right next to that. I pulled out my phone and turned on the flashlight. "Zane, where are you? Are you okay?" I got no reply, only the increased intensity of the drums. It was all around me now, on top of me. I waved the light around frantically, my heart quaking at Mach 7 speed. Suddenly, the chants died abruptly, and the drums stopped. Everything was silent again. I froze, standing in the dark, waving my light around. Nothing was there. "Zane, goddammit, where are you?" I cried. "Zane!" From deeper into the aisle, I heard the faint sounds of whispering. They were indistinct, almost completely incomprehensible. It sounded again like the distant chanting, only much softer and right there in my ear. My entire body was shaking furiously. Where's Zane, goddammit? Why did I have to get mixed up in this? Why couldn't we have just gone... Ugh. I jumped back, landing on my ass. I ended up tossing my phone up into the air, sending it crashing down hard onto the floor. I heard Zane's voice erupt into hysterical laughter before the lights abruptly came back on. "Dude," he said through fits of laughter, "that shit was priceless." He ended up dropping to one knee, unable to catch his breath. I just sat there, still far too shaken up to do or say anything, including breathing. I just sat there slack-jawed, staring blankly at him until, eventually, my heart rate went somewhat back to normal. Despite this, I could still hear the distant sounds of chanting. "Dude, what the fuck?" I screamed at him, having caught my breath once more. He was still weak with laughter. "That was great. God, man, I wish I could have caught your ass on video with that." I felt my heart rate speed up a bit again. I had every bit in the mind to force-feed him the tips of my boots, knocking all of his teeth down his throat. He just kept laughing. Motherfucker. That wasn't funny, dude. I thought someone was actually in here. Not cool. His hysterics finally calmed down. Oh, come on, he said, wearing the most obnoxious grin I'd ever seen. That was fun. Didn't you have fun? No. I almost had a heart attack. What the fuck were you doing anyway? I noticed the chanting growing distantly louder and louder. It sounded like whoever it was slowly approaching from the distance. Hey, how are you doing all of this? Dude, he said condescendingly, like I was apparently supposed to have already known the answer. Look around. We're in the electronics aisle. You really think I can't just easily grab a Bluetooth speaker off the shelf and play some tribal Indian drum music? He looked at the wall behind him and said, even better with the light switch right there, too. I think if I hadn't been so shaken that I was actually physically exhausted, I'd have put my foot in his ass. As it was, I just sighed and pinched the bridge of my nose while he started laughing at me again. Okay, well, you got me. You happy? Can we cut the chanting off now? He stopped laughing. Huh? What? The chanting, the sound effects. Cut it out. Look, you already got me. The prank's over. His smile slowly fell into a look of bewilderment. Voices were growing much closer. I could start making out some of the disembodied syllables much more clearly now. Dude, he said hesitantly, I'm not doing anything right now. I raised my eyebrow at him. Right. You're not doing that, I said, annoyed. Each passing second, I could hear them get louder in my ears. I'm not, he exclaimed defensively. I'm not doing anything right now. See? He held up his phone, showing it being locked. What you talking about? You hearing something? I sighed again, gritting my teeth in frustration. I'm not going to ask nicely again, okay? Look, I'm tired, and frankly, I'm kind of pissed at you already for keeping me here all night for this shit. For the last time, turn the damn sound effects off. Bro, what sound effects? I swear to God, I don't have any. He stopped when the light shut off again. Everything was pitch dark all around me again. I couldn't see Zane or anything else anymore. Hey, what are you doing? I shouted. What do you mean? He shouted back. I'm nowhere near the fucking lights, man. Quit fucking around. Where the hell even are you? Right here, he said, touching my shoulder. See, I'm in front of you. I'm not doing anything here. My eyes started bugging out, and my blood started to go cold again. He was right. No phone meant no sound effects, and with him being right in front of me like this, couldn't have been him doing any of this. My legs were shaking again. Then, who the hell's making that noise? What noise? He said, his own voice growing increasingly anxious. The chanting, dude. You don't hear that? It's all around me now, right in my ear. Because of this, I almost didn't hear him when he asked, You what? What chanting? Shh, listen. It's all around us. I picked my phone up and turned the flashlight back on, waving it around the aisle. Yeah, who's there? I called out. Nothing was there. Just the electronics. No one or thing was there. Still, the chanting became more and more intense, like something big was about to happen during one of their ceremonies, like what I described before. Dude, what's going on? Zane asked, noticeably frightened. I kept waving the light around. Okay, sorry for punking you. You win, you got me all right. Just cut it out. I turned back in his direction. No, I'm serious. Someone or something else is in the store with us here. In the glow of my flashlight, I could see the color drain from his already pale-skinned face. I myself was 2 seconds from scrambling for the back door when I heard the drum beat start up again. I swung the light over towards it. Nothing. This time Zane must have caught on because he snapped towards the back where it was coming from, too. "What the hell?" he exclaimed. "You hear it now, too?" "Yeah, what the fuck?" The drums got closer and closer, pounding harder and harder. For a moment I actually started to feel the drum beat resonating through my body, making my heart cut backflips in my chest. The chorus of chants increased in ferocity as well. "Dude," I shouted. "The front door. Run." I turned and was about to book it myself to the front door when I stopped dead, realizing Zane wasn't following me. I turned around, shining the light on him. He stood completely still. "Zane," I called out. "What are you doing? Come on." He didn't move. He was motionless, looking like one of the mannequins in the clothing aisle. His back was facing me, staring directly ahead towards the back of the store. I called out to him again, and again he didn't answer or even acknowledge me. Instead, he just remained perfectly still for another 10 seconds before his body abruptly started seizing violently. "Zane!" I started back towards him. "Zane, what's wrong?" I stopped. His head jerked up to lock eyes with me. His face was now whiter than a piece of paper. His eyes were now 2 dark marbles embedded in their sockets. His jaw hung slack, looking almost like it was going to break right off and fall to the floor. My heart stopped altogether, seeing this. "You," hissed a voice that, for sure, wasn't Zane. His mandible swung limply around, dangling from his upper jaw. "You are trespassing." "What?" I asked. "What are you talking about? Zane, what's your deal?" He took a wobbly, disjointed step towards me. Shakily raising his hand, Zane pointed to me and hissed, "This is our land. You are both trespassers. You are not welcome here." A lump formed in my throat. By this point, I'm surprised I was even able to stand up at all from how bad my legs shook. I was lost, speechless and confused, but most of all, I was downright terrified. What was I supposed to say? What could I do? Was there anything I could do? He took another step toward me, then another, and another, holding his finger out to me. "If you want this land, you have to pay with blood." Suddenly he sprang at me, bounding through the air with his arms outstretched to grab me. Thinking quicker than I thought possible, I turned and started running in time to dodge him. I heard him land behind me and begin chasing after me. He let out a shrill sort of screeching noise, and I'd made it back past the cleaning supplies, and I heard a thud, followed by the clattering of the merchandise onto the floor. Against all better judgment or common sense, I swung the light around to look behind me. There he was, hot on my tail, crouched running across the top shelves, bounding from one aisle to the next like a frickin' panther. I couldn't see anything else in the dark. This caused me to end up tripping and falling flat on my face. Before I could even try and get back up again, he was on me. With another startling shriek, Zane bounded down from the shelf and landed right on me, pinning me down. I struggled, writhing and fighting against him, but it was no use. Under any normal circumstances, I could have easily outbulked this guy, being at least 50 to 75 pounds heavier than him. Not to mention the fact that I've been hitting the gym 3 times a week for the past 6 months now. But not this time. Not now. Somehow his hold on me felt stronger than a bear trap now. I couldn't move. He started pounding hard on my chest with his fists. Each hammering blow knocked more and more of the breath out of me. Then took to driving his fist straight into my nose, soon busting it wide open. I became dizzy, stars exploding across my vision more and more with each hit. Faintly, I could hear him hiss. "Only one can have this land. One of us must die." Raised back up, rearing back his bloodied fist for one last strike. Using the last smidgen of strength I had in me, deep down, I jabbed both of my thumbs into both of his coal black eyes and shoved him off of me into the shelf behind him. He was sent headfirst into the shelf, knocking him dizzy. This gave me the opportunity to shuffle back to my feet and shamble as fast as I could the rest of the way to the front. Making it to the door, I grabbed the handle and attempted to fling it open to run like hell out of there, when I realized the door wouldn't open. I jerked and jerked furiously on it. If it was a normal occasion, I probably would have ended up ripping the door right off. Now, though, it wasn't budging a bit. Behind me, I could hear Zane stomping down the aisle towards where I was. This made me jerk even harder and more desperately on the handle for another 30 seconds before giving up when I heard him halfway down the medicine aisle. When I started to see him close enough to come into view that I made a beeline for the bathroom. That's where I am now, typing this out. I need help. I don't know what to do. I've tried calling, but for whatever reason, the call isn't going through. Can't get out. I'm trapped. I think it's something going on with whatever's happened to Zane. He said that only one of us could have the land. One of us had to die. That's it, isn't it? This has to be some sort of tournament of blood sport ritual by the native tribe that died here. That explains the chanting and the drums, both of which I still constantly hear. Guess that's why there haven't been any customers either. See, from out the small window above the restroom sink, I saw that it stayed pitch dark all day today. At least it did here at the store. Even if it seemed, judging from the normal-looking posts I saw on Facebook and the lack of posts asking what was going on with the sky or anything else. In other words, shit going on here at Vickers Super Smart Supermarket seems to be strictly restrained to this place as well, which is how I'm able to reach out at all, despite not being able to actually call for help. I can still hear him out there, roving around, hunting for me. Guess I'm lucky he mustn't have seen me run in here. That said, it's been an entire day now. I can't hide here in the bathroom much longer. This, whatever this is, isn't going to end until either me or him is dead. Don't know how, or even if I can actually kill him. I don't want to. I didn't want any of this shit. I just wanted to go home. But one way or another, once I'm finished with this, I think I'm going to have to go out there. One way or another, I'm going to have to put an end to this. Well, my dear friends, we are coming to the end of 2024, and it seems unbelievable to me that I'm still doing this and you're still listening. Many, many years have gone by. I've moved countries, completely different jobs, all that kind of thing. The cat's still around, Mr. Kitten, as you hear sometimes in the background. But, well, my message at the end of the last one about Christmas Day, and especially being for anyone who is alone and, needed something there to make you feel a little better, that is, born of absolute sincerity. And really, I just appreciate you all still being around and listening to this. I mean, this is something I really love doing. I think storytelling is fundamental to the birth of humanity, and our, when we started saying, okay, don't go too far away from the cave that way because there be lions, don't go that way because there be poisonous snakes. And so these stories evolved to help humanity deal with immediate dangers, and it evolved over time, but it's still a very real thing. So being able to tell stories to you is an absolute fundamental of human existence, and it's my privilege to do so, and I am really glad you're still around to listen. Anyway, this is not meant to be ultra sentimental or anything, but it's true, and I think over the years my closing monologues have gotten a little bit not talking to you directly as I used to, and that really is important to me. Anyway, I am waffling on, but I hope you know what I mean. Love you guys. Thank you for still being around. And I will see you again very soon. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this story today. Really means a lot to me and to the author of the story, of course. Well, if you want to know more about me, I'm pretty much everywhere on social media. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can download my music on SoundCloud. I've got a Patreon if you feel like. Throw me $1 or $2. Very much appreciated. And of course, on Reddit, I have a place where you can leave stories if you want me to read one that you've written. Well, hoping to see you all again very soon. Till then, sweet dreams. Bye-bye.